Mirasee.
Hi there, I'm Laura Sprinkle, and you're listening to Making It. 2 years ago, I recorded the episode that you are about to hear, and I'm here today to let you know if it stood the test of time. So let's dive in. On my email signature, it says partnerships first, fun always. So those are two of my company's values. And the fun is something that people notice all the time, right away, whether it's on my website or I'm doing a guest interview, or hopefully you've picked that up in this right now. And I've got a little piñata behind me when you watch me on video. And that is also part of my magnetization within my brand. I love having fun. I believe that life is an experiment and life is about having fun. And that's me personally. And I've actually turned people off from my brand with that. And funnily enough, a lot of those people are based in the UK and they don't see fun as part of business. And I do dance parties at the top of every call. And so I can be a lot for people. And I'm so glad that those humans have found other people to learn from so that I don't have to feel bad about my dancing. And I can attract the people who are like, yes, you do business differently. You bring in that human element and that fun element into the work. Making it, to me, really means being able to bring your whole self to the table. By the table, I mean your every single day of your life. So for me, having fun is not simply, I'm going to have a dance party at the beginning of every team meeting and every client call. Not one-on-one client calls, but any groups teaching I do, I always have a dance party. It's also when I'm doing the dishes, being able to turn on music. It's knowing that I'm not a morning person, despite what all the million personal development books say about needing to get up at 4 a.m. And so being able to sleep in and not have any meetings till at least 10 a.m. Eastern time, making it, to me, is not something that you're cooked and done. It's really about being able to experiment and tweak and learn. And so making it, to me, is about that journey. It's about recognizing that we're in it for the long haul. And some days it's going to be really freaking hard. And some days it's going to be awesome, and being able to celebrate all the things in between. I had an internship in college for a corporation that is in the Department of Defense space. Not that that matters, but having to be at the office and sit in a cubicle from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And no matter if I wanted to go faster or slower, to be sort of limited by what the other people in the company were doing, that just never really felt right to me. And I've always wanted the freedom of entrepreneurship. So people have offered many times over for me to join somebody's company as an affiliate manager. And my favorite part about partnerships is continuing to expand and grow and meet new people and figure out how to piece together new brands and new ideas. So my favorite thing when it comes to partnerships is taking seemingly completely opposite brands or opposite topics and figuring out how they connect together and how they can collaborate. I was doing consulting and also management for 6- and 7-figure launches. And I had just wrapped up with a client managing their entire launch, so their entire webinar sequence. And they realized that they really wanted a full-time person, a full-time project manager on their team. So they hired for that role. I've never wanted to work for somebody full-time as an employee, so I declined. And then they came back and asked me to be their affiliate manager since I knew the launch inside and out. I didn't really know what that meant, but I said, sure, let me just give it a try. It'll be fun. And I really found my jam. So that was in 2017. And I fell in love with all things affiliates, all things partnerships, because I got to talk to people, I got to have fun, and I got to use the strategic side of my brain while just meeting so many incredible humans. I feel like my personality type is, if I'm not jumping into something new, I go like a little bit nuts. And so for me, it's often a blessing, sometimes a curse, that I love jumping into those things and always learning. And I'm willing to say, I kind of have no idea what I'm doing, but I think I can do an awesome job. So let's just go for it. So it's really in my blood, I would say, to step into something without knowing all of the path ahead. When I first started an online business, I actually had a health-related business. So I was a health coach after studying and learning about gut health to heal my own gut. And I was a few years into that experience, and I had written a book, and I had grown an email list, and I had a course out called She's Got Guts. And one day I looked around and I just realized I don't really care what other people eat. And that's literally what I sent an email to my list. And I said, I don't care what you eat. And not in a rude way, not in I don't want you to be healthy way, simply that I had studied that and grown that business for personal reasons to heal my own gut. And at that point, the most exciting part of my business for me was the marketing and creating the website and brainstorming on launch ideas. And so I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew that I didn't want to or couldn't answer any more questions about what should I eat and what probiotics should I take and the health journey. And so I essentially burned that down and started again. And a lot of people actually came on the journey with me, and they had been attracted to my brand for me and not really because of the gut health stuff. So when I went into branding and websites and then ultimately into partnerships, I actually still have probably about 200 people that have stuck with me through all of it. I've traveled extensively and lived in various countries since the age of 11. Well, I didn't live in another country until I was about 20, but had traveled since the age of 11, and really meeting people that have a different perspective from me is one of the reasons why I can take businesses that are seemingly completely different and make connections between them. Because as I've traveled and I've met people from other cultures, so often I'm looking for, okay, yes, we're so different in these ways, but we're also really alike in this one way, and this really human element between us. The more that we can bump up against something and then step away from our business and actually take that vacation or actually go on that hike or that walk or get out in nature, go sailing, whatever it is, the more that our subconscious brains are going to be working on that problem. I'm actually learning so much about this right now from the Flow Research Collective. And when it comes to flow states and us really being able to come up with answers to problems that we're having, we actually need to get out of our surroundings and we need to get off the computer and out into the world. And we're going to make connections that we wouldn't have been able to make otherwise. I don't know if you watch the series House, that medical show, but so often he'll be having this unsolvable medical drama, and then he'll be out to dinner and all of a sudden he's like, oh my gosh, and leaves the table because he's made some connection based on his conversation at dinner or based on the way the food is placed on the plate or something like that, and it can solve the medical issue. And those things happen in our business. And so when we're sitting there at the computer and we're looking at the screen and we're like, oh, struggling with something, that has been so huge for me to realize that actually stepping away is going to speed up the timeline of me being able to solve that problem. I think one of the mistakes that I made early in my business when it came to partnerships out of the business sphere was that I really cut off a lot of the friendships that were not in the online business space. And you may have heard the crabs in the bucket metaphor of people trying to pull you down, or it is really nice when you walk into a room of online business owners and you're all speaking the same language and you all understand the struggles and trials of being in that world. Just like I'm sure that it could be the same in any other industry that you might work in, to have that camaraderie with people. And that is one of my regrets, was that I didn't nurture as much my offline relationships at that time when I was getting things started. Because just like getting out into nature or getting off the computer or taking a vacation can be so great for your business and your life. Let's be honest, not everything is about business success. But also your friendships that are outside of the business space. My best friend works with trees and doesn't know anything about webinars. And I love that we don't have to talk about metrics when we're hanging out. We can just be real humans. So I think that developing partnerships outside of the online space is so important, but also for your life in general. I don't want to get to the end and be like, oh, well, I made millions of dollars in my business, but I have no friends. That would not be making it for me. I just had to laugh listening to that. And I want to state for the record that I have worked with plenty of people from the UK who enjoy the dancing. So it's funny that I called that out. And I've had some really successful clients from the UK. I love that I talked about that it's the journey in particular, because I actually just started a new company that is still working with affiliate programs, but I'm actually building affiliate software, an affiliate tracking platform. And so now I'm like getting into all new stuff because it's like, oh, fundraising and investors. And I'm like learning all sorts of new stuff. And I will say, like, building out what we're going to do for our launch plans and the team and what strategic partnerships we're going to have to launch the software is super fun. I still feel like I've made it, even though in so many ways I'm back at square one and back at the beginning of starting a business. So it's even more reinforced to me that it's about the journey than any kind of final destination. So since recording that, I actually started a thing at the beginning of 2022 where I set myself a challenge to get outside every single day for an outdoor adventure, I call it. And in 2023, I'm continuing it again. And I set it at a limit of 1% of the day, which is actually only 14 minutes and 24 seconds. So I have to spend at least that amount of time outside, no matter if it's raining, if there's a blizzard, if it's super hot, whatever is happening outside, I have to get out. And I will say that every day I don't want to do it. And well, not every day, but a lot of days I don't want to do it. And I'm always glad I do commit to that because I have new ideas or it just gives my brain that break. So that was a good point I made last time. I would love my legacy in business to be how it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. How when we set things up properly, it can really be this regenerative system of wealth where when I win and I scale and I grow my business, that doesn't mean that you lose. It means that actually you win further as well. And our clients win more too. And our investors and just every stakeholder, every party, or every piece of what we're creating, the ecosystem gets fed through the growth of any other piece. So that's something I'm super passionate about and I think is really reflected in creating affiliate programs. So that works well for me. I'm Laura Sprinkle, and you've been listening to Making It. You can learn more about me over at laurasprinkle.com.
Making It is part of the Mirasee FM podcast network, which also includes such shows as Course Lab and Once Upon a Business. This episode of Making It was produced by Danny Bermant and Geoff Govertsen. Cynthia Lamb is supervising producer. Danny Eni, that's me, is executive producer. Post-production by Post Office Sound. To catch the great episodes that are coming up on Making It, please give us a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. And if you like the show, please leave us a starred review. It's the best way to help us get these ideas to more people. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.